All right, guys, are you guys tired of feeling tired and exhausted and just battle weary? Some of you may feel that way all the time. Some of you just some of the times, and perhaps some of you have it under control. But many people actually find this to be the bane of their existence. And I was reading an article this morning called "Why Are We So Tired?" It was written in 1954, and I don't remember who wrote it. Some doctor, and he was posing the question because this is something that man has always struggled with, but it comes from different, it comes about for different reasons. People are physically tired, they're mentally tired, and sometimes it's just that they're not getting enough sleep, they're not eating right, they have bad habits. And a lot of times it's just emotional frustration, and people begin to shut down. And these things have somewhat of a chemical effect in our body. There's an imbalance of sugar and oxygen and so on and so forth, and the red blood cells. And I thought all of this was quite interesting. Quite interesting. It was interesting to me that nearly a quarter of the oxygen in your red blood cells are spent when you are actually exerting mental effort on something, which is why, when you are applying your mental energies to something, you do become actually quite tired. I know that when I play the piano intensely, I'm very focused. I'm absolutely wiped out when I'm done. Absolutely wiped out. But people are tired for different reasons. And one of the things I want to talk about mainly here is how whether you're tired physically or tired mentally, the results are oftentimes the same, and that when you are emotionally frustrated, that's oftentimes the worst kind of weariness you can have. Absolutely, that's the consensus of this whole thing. That's distilling it all down to its very basic level here. But without going into too much of the article, what I want to share with you is actually just a little anecdote. And someone had I thought this was quite revealing, and I thought this is probably the best thing to focus on and maybe resolve to fix in our own lives. And that is this. Listen to this. This is what was said. "You have more energy than anyone I know," Edna Ferber once said to Eleanor Roosevelt. "It isn't that I have so much energy," replied Mrs. Roosevelt. "It's just that I have never wasted any of it on indecision and regret." Did you get that? She doesn't waste any of her energy on indecision and regret. Now think about that. Think about that aside from everything I said at the very beginning. Indecision and regret. How much energy goes into being indecisive? Well, if you think about it, quite a bit. You weigh the pros and cons. You think about the consequences of being wrong. You want to be right. There's pressure on you. And some people are just by nature, you could actually define them as being indecisive. And I would say perhaps these people might just be the most weary people. Not just them, but the people who are filled with regret. Think about that. Regret consumes an individual. And it's probably worthy of a much longer video about regret, because I have a lot of things to say about regret. I don't have a whole lot of room for regret in my life. I do have some regret. I just don't give it a wide berth. Okay? Because regret does nothing. It's one thing to look at your life and think about the decisions you made, whether they be right or wrong, and learn from them. It's another to dwell on them and allow it to control you. You allow it to just take over, and regret will just swallow you up. But when you combine indecision and regret, imagine having to operate at that capacity where all of your efforts and energies were directed toward being able to make a decision about anything and having to deal with whatever you're regretting. maybe we should focus on that to have more energy than we are focusing on diet and exercise. Diet and exercise are good. Forming good habits and shedding bad ones are also good. But let's just focus on a life being, living a life, being able to make good decisions. Well, not a good decision, be able to make quick decisions, whether you feel like they might be good or bad, and putting aside regret, which does absolutely nothing for you, and see how that works out for you. Try that out for size. Let me know what you think. Tell me what your thoughts are on that, and really think about this. Really think about the whole issue of regret, especially because I don't think there's any point in it. You can learn from your mistakes, and you can learn from your life, but you don't have to regret. And indecision, I'll be honest with you, that's something I really do struggle with. I'm somewhat of an indecisive person. I second guess myself all the time, and yes, that does take some of my energy, and so I can relate to this, and I hope it's helped you. So if it has, if you've liked this video, hit a thumbs up, and subscribe. Share it with somebody else that might need to hear it. All right, guys, I've got to go to work. I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.